Have you ever found yourself completely alone in a place you've never been before? What if it was a world you've visited many times, but this time something feels off? That's exactly where I found myself tonight in Minecraft. The sun was setting, and I hadn't gathered any resources yet. I needed to find shelter and fast before monsters started to spawn. But would I make it safely to dawn? Join me on my quest for survival in this terrifying night. The forest was thick around me as shadows grew long. Familiar trees felt unfamiliar in the dim light. I jogged, searching desperately for an open clearing to build a hasty shelter before night fell. But the trees only seemed to close in tighter. My breath came fast, both from exertion and rising panic. Where was I to make my stand against the terrors of the night? Just as it seemed all hope was lost, the trees suddenly gave way to a small grassy glade. The last rays of sunlight filtered through the leaves above as I rushed to gather what wood I could before darkness fell. But would it be enough? Night was falling fast, and I was still exposed with no walls up. As the last light drained away, the familiar sounds of zombies rising from their graves in the distance sent a chill through me. It was time to build, or become one of them. My hands shook as I placed plank after plank, racing the encroaching dark. The familiar sound of zombies rising was closer now, carried on the night breeze. As the last rays faded, I was still vulnerable, one wall unfinished. In the darkness, two glowing eyes emerged from the tree line, followed by rasping breath. My heart leapt in my throat as the zombie shambled forward, reaching decayed hands out for me. I placed the final plank just in time, the creature's grasping fingers threading through the gaps. He was close enough that I could smell his rotting flesh. Pressing my back to the trembling wall, I fumbled in my inventory for a torch by its flickering light, trying to ignore his moans of hunger on the other side. Shadows danced along the plank walls as my torch sputtered to life, casting the small shelter in a flickering glow. I took a shaky breath, trying to calm my racing pulse, but it did little to ease my fear. All around, the sounds of the undead rising echoed through the forest, punctuated by the scratches and bangs of the zombie outside testing his prison. I was trapped inside with the monsters of the night, separated by only a thin wall of wood. Would my shelter hold until the morning light, or would the creatures of the night find a way inside? There would be a long night ahead. The zombie outside threw its body against the wall again and again, each impact sending vibrations through the wooden planks. I clutched my torch tighter, its dim light barely holding the terror at bay. Something had to be done, or this shelter would not last the night. With a shuddering breath, I retrieved my sword from my pack. Maybe if I could draw the monster away, give it a target other than this fragile shelter. My heart in my throat, I placed a well-aimed hit between the gaps, slicing rotted flesh. An inhuman wail rent the night as the zombie staggered back. I had bought myself time, but the sounds of more coming grew louder in the woods. What else lurked out there in the darkness? Pressing an eye to the cracks, I strained to peer into the inky blackness beyond. The forests were shrouded in a veil as thick as mystery itself. 2 pinpoints of light emerged from the dark, then 6, a dozen. I stumbled back from the wall with a gasp. It seemed the whole undead horde was shambling this way, drawn by the cries of their fallen brother. My shelter would not protect me from such numbers. As their moans rose along with the others on the night wind, I knew I had a choice: cower and wait for dawn, or take the fight to them.